So other items we need to cover that's come up in the news, and I'm going to give my opinion on these. And yet again, we're seeing a familiar theme. And here comes the latest woke joke. Using and teaching what has long been considered proper English language and grammar is now deemed actually racist, according to at least 2 professors attending a virtual seminar at Towson University in Maryland. And they said the way black language is devalued in schools reflects how black lives are devalued in the world, and the anti-black linguistic racism that is used to diminish the black language and black students in classrooms is not separate from the rampant and deliberate anti-black racism and violence inflicted upon black people in society, according to the language professor and author April Baker Bell. And she said, teachers' attitudes include assumptions that black students are somehow linguistically, morally, and intellectually inferior because they communicate in black language. If I was as stupid and childlike as these people, one would make suggestions that English-speaking whites in other countries where it's not a native language is anti-white and so therefore racist. And these people need to be fired for their retard levels of stupidity. You know, how are young black people going to fare when applying for jobs using their own language known as gangster rap? Yo, motherfucker, give me a job today, bitch. You can't use that language in here. Hey, ho, and bitch, where's my application form? Please leave the building or we will call the police. Yo, motherfucker, shoot the police or I'll bitch slap you. How's that going to go across? And I know the majority of black people don't like that language or that image either. But this rhetoric plays into the vocal, non-participatory elements of your society, who would rather take than give. And it's time for the millions of genuine black people to tell these people to shut up and stop misrepresenting you, as they are a blight on your communities. What's a joke? Yet again, another story develops alongside our expose of Indian gurus and spiritualist programs that we covered in From Russia with Love 8A through C, of which it told of threatening behaviour, sexual abuse of the flock, intimidation, and leaving a trail of broken females in their midst. And it also supports a recent piece we did of rampant mistreatment of women from Asia all the way through to Africa. Now, the BBC journalist Ishleen Kaur was a passionate yoga teacher with Sivananda, which is one of the biggest yoga movements in the world, it is said, until a disturbing social media post led her to uncover multiple allegations of sexual abuse spanning decades right up to the present day. And she said, since I discovered yoga in my mid-20s, it has become a huge part of my world. Like many devoted yogis, it was not just an exercise class for me, but a way of life. And she said, I didn't just teach classes at my local Sivananda centre, I volunteered to cook and clean there too. I wonder what her definition of volunteer means. And Sivananda teachings influenced every aspect of my existence. But in December 2019, I received a notification on my phone, and it was a post in my Sivananda Facebook group about the movement's late revered founder, Swami Vishnu Devananda. And a woman called Julie Salter had written that Vishnu Devananda had sexually abused her for 3 years at the Sivananda headquarters in Canada. And she wrote that when she finally found the strength decades later to report this to the Sivananda Management Board, the reactions ranged from silence to the attempt to silence. And she said, I have now interviewed 14 women who allege abuse at the hands of senior Sivananda teachers, many of whom have not spoken about this to family and friends, let alone made it public. And she said, I've also spoken to a former staff member who says her concerns were not addressed by the Sivananda board. And the investigation has exposed claims of an abuse of power and influence within the organisation I once held so dear. Now, originally from New Zealand, Julie was 20 and travelling in Israel when she first came across the teachings of Sivananda. She quickly became immersed in the life of the movement and in 1978 moved its headquarters in Canada. Now, Vishnu Devananda was based there and Julie was asked to become his personal assistant, something she initially regarded as a privilege, really. But she says her schedule was brutal. She worked from 5 a.m. in the morning until almost midnight, 7 days a week, all without pay. And she says Vishnu Devananda became unpredictable, often shouting at her. So, of course, my own boundaries were getting more and more weakened, she tells the journalist. And then the events took a darker turn. One day when Julie was working in Vishnu Devananda's house, she found him lying down listening to devotional tapes, and he asked her to lie down next to him. When Julie said she didn't understand what he wanted, he told her Tantra Yoga, which is a yoga practice which has become associated with spiritual sex. It's got nothing to do with spirituality. And apparently it simply means working towards spiritual enlightenment through deep relaxation. Didn't know a blowjob was a spiritual retreat. Why? It boggles the mind. And Julie says she was coerced into various sexual acts, including penetrative sex, for more than 3 years. And several other high-profile yoga gurus have been accused of abusing their position in recent years, including Bikram Choudhury, Pattabhi Jois, and Bhagwan Rajneesh. Another person came forward under the pseudonym Catherine, was just 12 years old and attending a Sivananda children's camp in Canada in the 1980s when she said the teacher first took a sexual interest in her. She says the man would massage her and touch her bottom, and when she was 15 he began touching her more explicitly, grabbing her between the legs and touching her breasts. And she said the last time he assaulted her was when she was 17. And she was taking a nap and woke up to find him on top of her, and she left the organisation that day. The seedy world of gurus, spiritualists, and the so-called Love and Light crew, yet again, shown to be just as seedy and corrupt of the counterpart it was designed to replace, the church. Fake religion, fake spiritualism, and fake love and light are all programs of control, and it seems also sexual coercion and abuse. We stay in India for this next piece. And it is said that most Indians see themselves and their country as religiously tolerant, but they are against interfaith marriage, according to a survey from Pew Research Center. People across different faiths in the country said stopping interfaith marriage was a high priority for them, and the research follows laws introduced in several Indian states that criminalizes interfaith love. I wonder, will the Pentagon declare those people racist? Or are they all just colourblind and only see bad in one colour to appease their Hebrew Anunnaki overlords? Now, Pew interviewed 30,000 people across India in 17 languages for the study, and the interviewees were from 26 states and 3 federally administered territories. And according to the survey, 80% of the Muslims who were interviewed felt it was important to stop people from their community from marrying into another religion. Another 65% of Hindus felt the same. Now, the survey also asked about the relationship between faith and nationality, and it found that Hindus tend to see their religious identity and Indian national identity as closely intertwined. They do realize, or perhaps they don't, sole identity with your country is fascism, which is Zionism. Now, nearly 2/3 of Hindus, 64%, said it was very important to be Hindu in order to be truly Indian. Really? Criminalizing interfaith love. Dearie me. What an ignorant, divisive and racist statement that is. And it's shameful behaviour. You know, we were told that your God was all about loving. But it appears in Kali Ma land that comes with conditions. And love should be unconditional, no matter which fake God you choose to follow. You know, the Kali Ma and the multi-armed ones will be grinning evilly from ear to ear at this level of divisiveness. That's what it was created for. And you have to ask, what's happened to the Indian spiritualist programs? Was it corrupt all this to begin with? Or is this a special version of spirituality? Because if it is, thanks for another confirm of the From Russia with Love series. Just saying. This next piece is from, in fact, the next 2 pieces are from members. And I will add my comments into it. And it's called The Matter of Money. And it says, from an early age, we're taught to revere money as a means to provide anything the heart desires. To be financially secure without the usual concerns of making ends meet is indeed a worldly privilege. and can make the living life more comfortable and less problematic in many ways. But of course, it's not as straightforward as that. If so, all the rich people in the world would declare they were free of doubt and fear, able to love in a trouble-free relationship, and spiritually complete in the knowledge of the truth of existence. In this acquisitively driven world, it is necessary to know how to handle money, but more importantly, to grasp its deeper significance so as to be free of the mind's hypnotic suggestion that money is the key to a fulfilling life. The hidden price of material wealth is buried deep within the human psyche and rarely exposed in the light of day. Money's base appeal is its anonymity. Its faceless identity mirrors everything that the mind can desire to fulfill what it thinks will bring a life of limitless sensual experience. And so it is said that money is the root of all evil, since the temptation of what it promises preys on our human weaknesses, even in the most pious individual. Money is not only a material commodity, but symbolizes an invisible force. Yes, life force energy, which provides the means for matter to be shifted about from one corner of the earth to another. The exchange of money creates a psychic pulse, which is crucial for the financial speculators to keep the world moving. At a personal level, it's the anticipation of what money can buy which stirs the emotions and keeps the matter in the body moving. The currency of money fluctuates like human feelings, enabling those in the know to strike when share prices indicate it's time to make a killing. Now, unbeknown to the author of this piece, the reason they make a killing is they have a 4 to 7 second advantage in all stock exchanges, as the clock inside the trading halls is set slower to allow their algorithm machines to operate before time. He goes on, however, anything in existence reaches an excessive peak. The balloon bursts and the world dips into financial chaos for a while. Now that used to be done by Marduk every 7 years. But since he pulled the plug, there has been no boom for the people this time, only the vulture capitalist harvesters. The article goes on, growth follows recession. Not this time it hasn't. And after a brief period of respite, the cycle repeats itself, stoked by the media pundits to keep the people riveted to the latest news. And the only thing that never changes is that the have-a-lots keep getting richer and the not-a-lots keep getting poorer. The super rich are now untouchable, and the super poor represent an unalterable division that exists as a polarizing effect of human nature. Things can never change in terms of the distribution of wealth, because this would undermine the very foundation on which the world was created. Now, I personally disagree with that, because if we all applied the foundations on which the TPC operates, need not greed, caring and sharing, cooperative and not comparative or competitive, then that can and will change the world. A way of life without money is almost unimaginable in these times. And yet once, before human beings became totally fixated on the objective sensory world and retained some connection with their own divine being, the concept of money had yet to manifest in existence until the Orions brought it in. Barter for staple commodities was commonly practiced as a tangible exchange of goods, visible to all. With the invention of money, the sly, underhand, and duplicitous nature of human beings entered the psychic stream of the world. In my opinion, that is where most people go wrong, because the top echelon, the have-a-lots, are largely not human, only have the appearance of being such. And our series From Russia with Love reveals that once it's grasped. The hard currency of money now paved the way for humanity to extend out towards establishing its own vision of a world order, created specifically in accordance with the diabolical, self-driven entity of the underworld. However, life always provides a way to offset and harmonize the negative effects of the world. Although the currency of money is the predominant force in matter, the manner in which it is earned or received has a significant effect on the way that circumstances thereafter unfold. As an extreme example, a drug dealer who makes a stash of money from the degradation of his fellow man and woman can never enjoy his life, despite all the trappings of an affluent lifestyle. The unseen element of his wealth will externalize as periodic uncertainty, together with the fear and mistrust of those closest to him. The billionaire who appears detached and gracious in his hospitality disguises his fear of losing the material possessions which surround him. Within each man and woman there is a uniquely creative potential, but most are reluctant to pursue what they truly love and settle instead for the reward of financial security. And this is why I want people to create jobs and businesses with the TPC for which they wish to work in. Not forced to work in places just to keep food on the table and a roof over their head. So that work is a hobby and the hobby is work. The unconscious effect is to strengthen the attachment to the world and magnify the fear of death as the last formal link to the quantifiable speculative world. Money is the adhesive fluid that attaches humanity to the fabric of existence, and it's only through understanding its effect that money can take its rightful place as a commodity to pay one's way in the world. It's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. The famous saying, which only means that the rich man has more to lose by going on. Eventually, we must all go on. And when the time comes to depart this world, the idea is to have nothing left to attend to, with the balance for the privilege of living on this glorious earth to have been paid in full. A really good article, which is why I put it in the show. That last line said it all when it comes time to depart this world. And yes, because the only thing you can take with you into the next life is karma and soul development. And the question for us all is, which of those categories will be higher? Now, this is another piece done by one of our members that kind of got shunted back through shows as Each show became more and more full. And it brings up interesting numbers again, and also connections, and is related to the Hebrew secret code language of Gematria. And it said, on a recent show, Thomas mentioned Gematria, and then while he was doing the expose on mode RNA, he mentioned that the techno job was called mRNA 1273. That lit up my brain for some reason, so I did some sleuthing. The clowns are seeding their propaganda with 1273 for a while now, and here are some examples. South Africa, 1,273 new cases. India, 1 million people vaccinated through 1,273 centres. Polk County listed 1,273 total deaths. Utah saw an increase of 1,273 new cases. Johannesburg Health Department reported 1,273 new COVID-19 infections in the last 24 hours. So you get the picture, he said. And as Thomas says, if it makes no sense, then it has to be a program. Indeed. So he searched for the historical events on 1273, but not much is to be found. So next I turned and looked at Gematria. And here is a list of phrases that equates to 1273 in Hebrew Gematria. This list is not complete, he said, but the most interesting to me, and these are listed in order of popularity. But 1273 equals vaccines are coming fast. You are the appointed one. World order. John Kerry. The numerical fabric of reality. Natural adrenal stimulants. Interstellar transmissions. Child molester, no heaven. Rapture of the Holy Bride. Big white horse. The 0 hour has come. Earth virus. Atrocious morality. Cell towers. Oh my. There is your proof. That's not me saying it. That's 1273. Pursued by Satan. I'm very ill. Snakish women. Well, I never. Update your minds. Dawn of the beginning. The dream of life on planet Earth as a human being. You are energy. Out of the blue, a rapture. Damon 666. No rapture for Satanists. We are the Godheads. Heart virus. Well, I never. And I will be their God. Full body manifestations. Dreams of the Eye of Horus. Proud at being stupid. It's the bots. Let it end now. Saturn's matrix codes. 1273. Open prisons to those bound. Fire proceeds from the mouth of Thoth. Your soul is mine. The clock has been activated. Reconnect the cord to the Akashic records. Homo erectus is the Antichrist, and human bodies harbour alien hosts. All under the number of 1273. So he went a bit further, and here is the code for mRNA, which is 151. Now the equivalent of 151 is same as decoder, gods, the Bible, Tank, Code Red, Ganesh, Dogon, Amon, which is Amun, which is Ra, Chains, Adrenal, Rich Eden, G-Force, I Am a Liar, Face Shield, Defied Death, Hell in a Cell, DNA Data, and Real DNA. All of that from mRNA 151. Now, the person also added in the trustee's name, Kimberly 561, which is the same as Hidden Info Pattern, Holiest Human, High Priestess, Mother of Satan, the Goddess Isis, Queen Tiamat, Saturnian, Southgate, Perfection of Genes, Born to Pleiadians, The People's General, Human Robot, Inner Technologies, and Infernal Soul. Kimberly 561. Lastly, I found some interesting numbered relations. There is a popular universal constant if you look around various sciences. In pyramid science, the ratio of the height of a pyramid to its base divided by 2 is 1.273. The ratio of the size of Earth to the size of Earth plus Moon is 1.273. If you take 4 pi equals 1.273. And if you read Miles Mathis, he can prove mathematically that pi for an object in motion is exactly 4. In geometry, the ratio of a square to the largest circle that fits in a square is 1.273. And finally, if you take the thermodynamics, the lowest theoretically temperature, which is the assumed temperature for a dead universe, is minus 273 degrees centigrade. So where is the 1? Well, if you rotate the minus sign, you then get a 1 and 1273 again. And it's all interesting stuff and certainly gives some pointers to the perhaps hidden meanings. But whether this is accurate or not remains to be seen and could be a bit like astrology and it could be slightly flawed. Remember, with astrology, it's missing a whole constellation. But clearly the clowns, their Masonic brotherhoods, Mormons and many other elites appear to apply and use this method to deceive people. And the problem for them now is many people are decoding their symbols, languages, codes, and hand signs. We'll be back shortly.